So if you are just getting started in your content creation career, you're trying to brand yourself, it's going to be really important to know that um, over 70% of people, including pro athletes, creators, and other talented people on the planet, secretly feel like they don't deserve the success that they actually get. Again, we're talking about some of the most talented and creative people on the planet, but behind the scenes, they are doubting themselves. You know, what I find funny about this content creator space is that after one or two videos finds its flow, we get to the point where we're thinking, I got lucky. I can never keep this up. What if everyone finds out that I'm not that good? Trust me, as an older creator, personally, this hits hard for me because I find myself wanting to be, make dope content, hit my subscriber goals and things of that nature, and stay consistent. But deep down, there's something wondering, could I keep this up? Can I actually do this? Again, I know this feeling all too well. When I was studying to be a therapist, I had a similar experience. I had one shot to pass the licensing exam. And if I didn't pass, I would have had to restart my entire career and actually go in a different direction because I didn't have the credentials to stay in the field. So even though I had been studying and working towards it, there was something deep down inside saying, Chris, you won't pass this exam. You can't pass it. And I mean, it felt like the ultimate pressure. It's kind of like as a content creator, we put out video after video, hoping that each one performs well. We even might get to the point where we're thinking like, hey, if my videos keep flopping, or if this video flops, is my channel done? Again, I've been there too. Where every failure felt personal, right? It's like it defines you. But ultimately, that's what imposter syndrome is. It sneaks in that manner. But I do want to talk about how we can start to overcome this. So for in this video, what we're going to discuss is we're going to identify what imposter syndrome is. And then on the other side of that, we're going to identify some skills that we can begin to utilize today so that we can feel aligned with the success that we have earned and actually feel like we deserve it, because we do. Okay, so let's get into the video. All right, so according to GU University, psychologists Pauline Clance and Suzanne Imes first coined the term imposter phenomenon in 1978, identifying that highly successful individuals, particularly women at the time, frequently doubted their abilities despite evidence of their success. The following psychological patterns contribute to the syndrome. Cognitive dissonance. There's a conflict between one's self-perception and external achievements. So this is kind of like the idea that when a person gives you a compliment about how well your video is, how well you've done something, you have one of the hardest times believing that is true. In some ways, you think they are being sarcastic. So the other is attribution bias. Individuals with imposter syndrome often attribute their success to external factors like luck, timing, or other people's help, rather than their own talent and hard work. Now, in some cases, there could be some situations that play out for a particular person. And in terms of content creation, we could think of terms like trendy topics, catching the algorithm and going viral. Yes, however, to sustain the success, there is a level of good quality work that has been put forward. That person who struggles with imposter syndrome only contributes their success to the external factors such as luck, rather than being confident in their ability to create good content that is capable of going viral, catching the algorithm, or sustaining a level of success. And then there's imposter cycle. According to Clance, this cycle involves a constant need to prove oneself. So, after completing one task successfully, this person dismisses the accomplishment as a fluke or a result of hard work, not natural talent, which further reinforces their feelings of being a fraud. Well, there's a group of people, I'm sure, that will argue that that's not a bad thing. And while I understand that sometimes we can adversely motivate ourselves to continuously put out improvement and progress, but I'm on this end of the spectrum that says there are healthier ways to motivate ourselves to consistently put out good quality content. And one of the most important things is appreciation of the journey. And if we're never accepting the success that we get from developing our content and really finally catching that tread, then we set ourselves up for this never-ending journey of endless destination, if that makes sense. Alright, so now that we know what imposter syndrome is, let's talk about where it was developed and created from. Let's talk about how it impacts us today and some of the ways that it currently shows up. So one way that it shows up as perfectionism. People with perfectionism tendencies often set excessively high standards for themselves, and it feels like failures if they don't meet them. So it's kind of like a person who, again, when you've heard the term so much in our life, practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. No, there's a great guy motivator that we all know. His name is Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. He says practice makes permanence. Practice makes permanence. So essentially, we're not trying to be perfect. Perfectionism essentially sets your goal so high that at the moment of a setback, which setbacks happen, you potentially go into, that's where it creates this imposter. You're not perfect. I should be perfect, right? Issue with this is the constant pursuit towards flawlessness or perfectionism. Makes people more prone to feelings of not being good enough. As soon as we set that and we're not perfect, then those are when the feelings of not good enough comes in, right? Let's say that we win an event or we're successful at something. A person with imposter syndrome typically starts to go under that, well, I could have done this better. That's nothing necessarily wrong with that thought. However, when I could have done this better comes in without acknowledging the things that you have done well, that is a problem, okay? So another way that this impacts us is social comparisons and external pressure, right? So in today's hyper-connected world, social media, YouTube, we're all posting things and we're trying to essentially get our message out to our audience. And sometimes we can run across other YouTubers or content creators that reminds of us of ourselves and the content that we create. And in those moments, we could utilize those for something different, but we tend to utilize, people tend to utilize those moments as a way to compare ourselves and measure success. So a way to avoid the comparison is to focus our attention on our own stuff and our own growth, right? We have to first understand that this content creation is that there is a tribe for all of us. All of us have our own tribe, and when there's a person that creates similar content as you, we don't have to compare ourselves and say, oh, I'm better than them there, they're better than me, they're better, rather say, okay, understand that there are going to be, the way that I look at this is that there's several thousand therapists, probably hundreds of thousands in the United States of America, tens of thousands for sure, but pretty close. But there is a select few that needs Chris in terms of my personality, the way that I deliver my message, my ability to connect. And that doesn't make me the best ever therapist. That makes me the best therapist for the people that require my services, that need me to provide that for them. Does that make sense? So essentially, we all have a tribe of people that can best get the message from us. We just have to first believe in our ability to provide that to our people, right? And that's where removing those social comparisons and external pressure to meet needs, rather saying my goal is simply is to be better than I was yesterday. And that can be incremental. It can be in something smaller. It can be in editing the videos. It can be working on speech. It can be working on consistency, energy, delivery, being a little bit more authentic on camera, etc. All of these things, rather than saying, okay, this person is there and comparing ourselves to where they are, and we don't truthfully understand the journey. Another way that it can show up is overworking and attributing your success to luck, right? So many people who experience imposter syndrome work extremely hard to achieve their success. But instead of attributing their success to their effort and their consistency and their own abilities, they attribute their success to luck or timing, being in the right place at the right time. We talked about this a little earlier. However, some of that can be true, but there's still this piece where we have to be in a line or being prepared for an opportunity to present itself, right? So, some individuals develop imposter syndrome because they fear failure and rejection. They may have been conditioned to believe that failing makes them a failure, makes them less than and undeserving for success. The impact of the fear of failure can lead to a person questioning their abilities and their success, constantly feeling like they need to prove themselves, etc. The fear of failure can even show up in, we call it paralysis analysis, right? For example, a person, they know they need to go to the gym, they know that they need to start eating healthy, they know these things. However, some of the fear of failure of committing to your workout, committing to your diet, committing to your goals, or committing to your financial goals, or committing to any goal you have set out. The fear of failure is, if I get started, what if I can't do it? I don't believe I can finish it, right? So that prevents a person from starting. So the fear of failure can create imposter syndrome. So we have to, just a simple way to work on that, to start working through that, is to do it scared, right? Do it scared. Do it afraid, such as even in this content creation thing. This is not the easiest thing to do. It is very fun, very challenging, but to say talking into a camera, really trying to create these ideas and have my brain flowing, is not the easiest thing to do. But do it afraid, do it scared, and by doing it, it's going to help you develop the skills necessary for you to really believe and feel aligned with the success that you're receiving. This is one that I want to talk about on the back end, because it's a personal experience, and I felt this on another level, but the stereotype threat. cultural and gender expectations. Stereotype threat occurs when individuals feel at risk of confirming negative stereotypes about their social group. For example, women, people of color, and other underrepresented groups in certain fields may feel added pressure to succeed, and as a result feel more prone to imposter syndrome. I personally felt this. Again, I am one of four that's neuro certified in neurofeedback training in my area. I'm the youngest, and I'm the only black male that I currently know of. When I first started this process, I questioned myself: could I do this? Would people actually work with a young black male with his hat turned back talking about the brain? And ultimately, I had to overcome myself to get people to buy into what I was doing. When I was questioning my ability, when I was saying, hey, can I really do this? Knowing how to apply the services, but learning how to express and talk to people. Do they believe me? Are they judging me? The truth of it was, those thoughts that I were thinking that I thought people were having about me, I was having no thoughts about me. So the moment that I started to feel like I am a qualified neurofeedback specialist, the moment that I started to not only feel it, but to know that I am, that's the moment where my clientele started rising. That's the moment where I started making more income for my business. So imposter syndrome is holding you back if you don't believe in your ability to improve, right? If you don't believe in your ability to be successful in your field, whether it's content creation, whether it's online business, whether it's a brick and mortar business, whether it's anything, if you don't believe in your ability, how do you expect others to believe in you, right? So the moment that I started believing that I was a good therapist, that's when I started to gain clients. That's when clients, hey man, I really appreciate what you've done for me. I really appreciate what you've done for my son, etc. The moment that I started to believe that I am a good, great neurofeedback specialist, that's when clients started to come. Hey man, you were recommended a location. Someone sent me here. Thank you for the service you provide. The moment I believe, that's when I started to create those experiences. The moment that I believe that that I am successful in any aspect of my life, that's when that will happen. That's when that will turn out. So in order for us to get to the point where we are receiving the things in our life that we want, we have to get in what they call alignment. We have to get on the same frequency. What does that mean? It means that I cannot expect others to believe in me if I don't believe in myself. Okay? So if you like this type of video, hit the like button, share this content with a friend, subscribe to the channel, get in the comment section and say, I believe in myself. And I want to see what are some things about this video that you found the most helpful, and let's talk about it. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.